Everybody, I'm early today. hmm Which is like a first. Typically, I'm like 2:30, hurrying up, rushing to get on cam. And look at me, I have 8 minutes, really three, before I go grab my other device. But I made some peach cobbler, people. I've been craving peach cobbler. hmm Um, I was gonna do the first of all, I know how easy it was to make peach cobbler, and before going up to Google and searching it, when I did my shopping, I want to say month before last. I want to say July. I ordered my stuff, and what I did was I ordered like a peach cobbler mix. And all I had to do was like add water and add the peaches, of course, flavor the peaches, but that's all I had to do. And I didn't get fresh peaches. I got canned peaches. And when they delivered it to me, the mix was not there. So the cans of peaches was just sitting in my cabinet for weeks, over a month now. And Friday evening, something stirred in my spirit. And I said, let me go online and see how to make this. And it said, oh, it's so simple. You take the peaches and you put the peaches and simmer it with some, um, I didn't have any cinnamon, so I used nutmeg. Some nutmeg, some sugar, and of course I got creative and I added, I did have additive that has cinnamon in it, which is, I'm gonna just show y'all what, no, I can't show y'all what it is. Because it's too good. This is only a recipe I think I'm gonna share with the family. Cause this is a piece of it. So, let's say take flour, baking soda, right? I didn't have the baking soda. So I substituted. I'll tell you I did substitute the baking soda. No, I can't tell y'all. I can't tell y'all. All edible, obviously. I'm eating it. But look at the thickness. You see the thickness of this and the moisture of the, I don't know what the cobbler of it part is. I never ever tasted peach cobbler this good before. Ever. I've had some good peach cobbler. I shared pictures of it on Facebook. When I first took it out the oven. And I've summoned my son once more so that he can get some of it because I made a big pan. And I think I might share some with my supervisor at work. And so, I was kind of scared to share my culinary skills because I feel like if they know I could cook, they're going to try to have me cook at events and stuff. So I'd be like, I don't know, I should tell the whole world. People find out I could do hair, they'd be like, trying to, you know, huh, mm, mm, mm. I'm gonna go and grab my my phone. I can get the TikTok part on. I'll be right back. Welcome to Soulful Sunday. It's not 3 o'clock yet, so technically it's like pre-show, you know? Sorry I don't have no music for you this time around. I'm working on it though. Ooh, that's so good. Mm, 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 mm. Mm, 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 mm. Whew.
On 5, 6, believe in yourself. And swing, swing, get a chicken wing. And a swing, swing. You're doing your thing and a kick ball change. Ladies.
Oh, excuse me. Ooh. I can't wait to put my braids in. All right, live. Just getting this together. I'll put that behind there. Hey, welcome, welcome, welcome into the SupaTeaPodcast Show. You know what time it is. You know what time it is. It is Soulful Sunday time. My camera side. Give me a second. Cause this looks okay. But this thing ain't really. Woo! Alright. I don't know what this is. Okay, this is better. A little better. I have another holder. I need to get my other holder. But that'll work for now. Welcome, welcome in. Woo! Oh my goodness, on my phone. My little thickum thighs was showing. Welcome, welcome in to the SupaTeaPodcast Show. Let's get this camera up. Put you more on my face. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Welcome, welcome, welcome in. It is Soulful Sunday. And I'm excited. I'm having a cup of joe, eating this delicious peach cobbler that I made. I already started down in YouTube. So above we have TikTok world, and beneath we have YouTube world. And yeah, I'm a finish my snack. It's 3 o'clock on the dot. Look at what time. Man, I promise y'all. Y'all seen it too, there y'all. I get it. I need to sweep over here anyway. So I wonder how everybody's week is. Put how your week has been in the comments. Do people be commenting? I know. Who really sits through my hour of me babbling? I don't know. I sit through hours of people babbling. I'm not babbling. Maybe sometimes. Welcome, 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 welcome. Welcome in. Let me know how your week has been. My week has been good. How have I been feeling? I've been feeling very metamorphous. This is probably not even a word. Metamorphosical. Metamorphosical is not a word. But I've been feeling like I've been like changing. It's one thing to see the difference, but then it's another thing to feel it, because sometimes it feels uncomfortable. Like sometimes it feels like, it's like it's good, but then it's, scary at the same time. And I'm taking the bite that's good at each other. Hey, Cozy. Cozy gonna stick around. I'm finishing up my Sunday snack though. Before I dive into this book. As you know, here at the SupaTea Podcast, we are going through this book together, Seed of the Soul. We are now at chapter 5, I'm sure. Intuition. It's a good one. And it's about 13 chapters in here, I believe. Might be more. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16. There's 16 chapters in there. So we have 11 more weeks after this week. And I don't know. I really feel something is going to birth by that time. I got some new equipment, people. I haven't like plugged it up yet, but I do want to show it to you. And I need to get my whole desk together. Like my desk looking the way it looks is no excuse. But this is my equipment I got, people. So some more microphones. This little, see that box there? The box there is gonna let me do cool shit like put in applause, like I say something, or put in laughter, play around with my voice. It was cool. I'm excited about it. And it was very reasonable. So again, the space is coming together. It's a lot though. It's a lot, and really what I did several things. I cleaned out my book bag, which I haven't cleaned out that book bag since I started school. Was last year. Last year fall. I know angels be with me all the daggone time. Because it just there's no other explanation of why. Critters! I bought a thing of sunflower seeds and like half of the bag, and not in the shell, out of the shell seeds was like in the book bag for a whole year. Critterless. Hallelujah. Thank you, angels. Thank you, ancestors, for y'all. No, I don't like bugs. I don't like bugs like that. I love nature. Bugs, they outside. I'm having a fit right now because a fly that snuck in my house when I opened up my front door. You don't even know. My cousin like, why don't you just kill it? I'm gonna kill it. I'm going to leave my premises. Anyway though, back to my metamorphosis. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff came up this week for me. And it has inspired me to continue removing the things that are no service to me anymore. It's a lot of stuff that's like needs to be tossed, needs to be organized. A lot. Physically. And also, I feel like energetically. But I talked about this before briefly, not went into deep details, but I had an experience, quite a lot of different experiences, but one experience that hit me really hard. And when it hit me hard, maybe one person saw how hard it hit me. I think only one person saw how hard it hit me. Other people just imagine how hard it hit me. Well, there was only one person who saw how hard it hit me, and they saw like the day after. They didn't see the actual day of this event. And I'm not going to go into details of it, but what I can say is what I did was, because like I was no stranger to pain, even though this was a whole new type of pain and a whole deeper type of pain, because I was no stranger, and because my instinct was to protect and be aware of everything that was happening so that I can be protective to my son. I didn't reflect that pain until the next day. I didn't reflect it, and then I didn't reflect it all. And it wasn't like, I almost feel like the person who's seen it welcome in. The person who's seen me get like express that pain, they was just like, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. You know, it wasn't like, you know, like feel it. You know, it was like, come on, like we gotta go, we gotta go. And so I went. hmm They were temporarily my guidance until the middle of the day, of the second day, and I met a shaman, and the shaman did this for me. I didn't even know exactly what a shaman was at the time, but I remember the details. And the shaman did this, and I always talk about it because it's so significant. Sometimes it stands out to people, sometimes it doesn't. But it was life changing for me. I don't know if I would be who I am if I didn't run into that shaman. But that shaman was there on purpose. Like it was like that shaman knew to be at that location. He wasn't saying he was a shaman. He didn't tell me he was a shaman. I put it together because the other lady who's also into the mystics arts, she had a dragon on her whole body. And then I had experiences. You know, I remember in New York and somebody seeing me and recognizing something inside of me that I wasn't even aware of yet, but I knew how to respond to them. You know, it's this. So is it a surprise that I'm reading this mystical book right here? Is it a surprise? Is it a surprise? It should be a surprise. Mysticism has been part of my life for quite some time, and now I feel like I actually am. I ain't even gonna say no more. All I can just say is I'm full of gratitude, and yes, I'm metamorphosing, and I'm grateful to be metamorphosing into and evolving basically into a better version of myself. Miss Peach Cobbler, Miss Peach Cobbler is the proof. Mm 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 mm. So I did a lot of releasing, a lot of emoting. Whew, Friday, I was like boo-hooing from the soul. Boo-hooing from the soul Friday. So anyway, kudos to my agape family. Kudos to Reverend Arlene. She's amazing, phenomenal. And interesting enough, you could go watch the whole broadcast yourself. But interesting enough, she gave the talk today, the speech today, because Reverend Michael Beckwith is overseas celebrating and doing what he does. And she touched on pain. She touched on how she went through a period of pain recently that was very extreme, and how she, you know, let her tears flow, and how pain has a purpose, and you know, the purpose is to grow you and to heal you beyond where you are. And whew, I was just like, okay, I see the synchronicities. And this chapter this week is on intuition. And I had to make some intuitive decisions this week. And it was interesting. I shared a vlog about how I feel about an invitation that I received, and what I ultimately decided to do. Because one thing I'm realizing is that, yes, I'm here to be of service. Yes, I'm here to do many things. But those things do not require me to sacrifice my peace, sacrifice my health, and they don't even really require me to fight. It doesn't. I can still accomplish the things that I am here to accomplish peacefully, smoothly, efficiently, and the more time I put into my self development and my growth, because there's things to work on, like people. I've been dehydrated for like, I don't know, a while. a long while, and I would have moments of like proper hydration, and I would be like, oh, I feel good, you know and I wouldn't know why the heck I felt so good, because it wasn't a conscious thing. It was just like, oh, I could feel I'm moving a little better, and I'm not as achy. Spirit revealed to me the whole dang whole time, I just haven't had adequate water in this 240-pound body of mine. For 240 pounds, I am supposed to be consuming 100 and at least, depending on my activity, at least 120 ounces daily. Every day, 120 ounces of water every day. Every day. Every day. So I'm grateful for Google. I'm grateful for Google, because I was like, well, how long does it take to properly rehydrate oneself? And it was like 72 hours. I was like, oh, okay. That's so bland. 120 ounces for the next 3 days, and then that's for the rest of your life. As long as I'm this weight, of course, as I slim down a bit. I can slim down too much, but it's slim down a little bit. I'm going to drop 20 pounds. But the older I get, I might drop a little more, Ideally, like a 180. I'm sorry, 180 is fly. 180 is fly. Muscle bound too? All right. We are going to jump into the book now, people. It's been 20 minutes here or in YouTube and 15 minutes here. So whoever's in is in, whoever's not is not. You can always watch the replay, YouTube land. But we got to get into The Seat of the Soul by Gary Zukav, chapter 5. If you want to hear chapters 1 through 4, it is posted on my YouTube channel. Thank you. And Soulful Sunday is just getting to the soul of things. It is me expressing myself from my soul, which I always do any freaking way. But it is me acknowledging it, and my intention by acknowledging it here publicly with complete strangers, able to see a glimpse, is to encourage them to look within themselves, because we're all reflections, right? So let's get to the book. Chapter 5, Intuition. The central perception of the multisensory human is that he or she is not alone. The multisensory human does not need to rely solely upon his or her own perceptions and interpretations of events for guidance, because he or she is in conscious communication with other, more advanced intelligences. This does not mean that the multisensory human is relieved thereby from choosing, in each instant, the course of his or her life, but it does mean that the multisensory human has conscious access to compassionate and impersonal help in the analysis of his or her possible choices, their probable consequences, and in the exploration of the different parts of himself or herself. So I'm going to pause right there, which I often do in the middle of reading to share my little 2 cents. So, whew, that was a mouthful in like 2 paragraphs. Not even 1 paragraph. That was a mouthful in one paragraph. Because again, if you check out my vlogs, I did like 2 vlogs this week. You can see me expressing how just how I felt towards something, and I just made a decision based on that, and I'm glad I made that decision. But I was faced with another decision a few weeks ago. A few weeks ago, there was a suitor that was looking to pursue me, and he gave me like a I hate to laugh about it, but it's true. He gave me like a business pitch. It was like it wasn't really romantic, but I get that, the intentions were good. It wasn't like they were negative intentions. Definitely gave me a business pitch though, telling me all of these things, and most of it was honest. Some of it was he sprinkled some fibs in there. He definitely sprinkled some fibs in there, and I was just like, oh, okay, well, let's see, and they had a good energy. They had a very good energy. And how I could tell you that I know they had a good energy is because I was able to be in their company for a couple of hours, and I'm very sensitive. If a person's energy is off, there's no way. It's no way. It's just no way. So, and when I say off, I don't mean like bad or anything. I just mean like it's just not going and flowing with me, with who I am, how I am structured. And so we were able to do that. And then I had to make a decision. I had to decide whether I was going to allow this person to pursue me further, which it kind of surface wide, 5 sensory, made sense to do that at that moment in time. Um, but I had to ask like real questions, like, what do I want to do? Because I basically got presented with this option. I have the option of allowing that to unfold, and it would be a nice, safe, easy, not, it would be nice and safe. Or I have the option of allowing myself to reach my highest potential, which, not saying that wouldn't be safe, but when I say safety, and safety probably is the wrong word to use, but when I say safe, like it would be predictable. It would be predictable, allowing that suitor to progress, whereas me unfolding with my twin flame would be unpredictable. and for where the possibilities can lead with who we are, our soul essences, at active work, like it wouldn't pose danger per se, but a lot of people wouldn't want to walk that path, because it's a labyrinth. It's not a straight line. There's dips and there's turns and there's different hats to wear at different times. There's versatile. It's a lot. It's a lot. But I chose to go with unfolding and reaching my highest potential, because that allows my partner to also reach their highest potential. And that other individual, as well as their intentions may have been or be, they could plug those intentions into somebody that's more compatible with them, because we only have like one thing. And yeah, we could catch, they're not a regular person, so to speak. And when I say regular, like they're not desensitized to the world. They're also very sensitive. They're also very perceptive. but they also have been allowing others to drive their lives, and they also have a different family dynamic, and structure versus me. And I'm not saying that my twin flame doesn't have a similar family dynamic, but they have matured to a point where they are free of the dictates of their parents per se. They probably value their mother's opinion and wisdom and things of that, but they're not like their mother is not like do this and do that, and they're like doing it. They have their own mind. They have their own things that they're doing. So again, I had to make a choice, and I had to say, well, what's if I choose this way, how's it gonna look? If I choose this way, how's it gonna look? And but ultimately I had to make a choice, and intuitively the answers came to me of how that would look and how this would look. And I'm glad I chose this instead of that. But I'm gonna go back into the book. The five sensory human is not alone either. But the five sensory human is not aware of the assistance that is continually being given to him or her, and therefore cannot draw upon that assistance consciously. The five sensory human must learn primarily through his or her physical experiences, and this learning takes longer because lessons that are learned in this way must come through the density of physical matter. A person that needs to learn the lesson of trust, for example, will experience a distrust of others. This distrust will cause misunderstandings, and these will lead to tensions and unpleasant experiences. A five sensory human will continue to experience the unpleasantness that results from his or her distrust of others until in this lifetime or another he or she realizes through interactions with others the source of these unpleasantness. There's some more S's on the back of that word. Unpleasantnesses. That was like metamorphical. And take steps to change it. If a person is not able to trust, for example, he or she will interpret erroneously the words and actions of others. If a wife tells her husband that she must attend a business meeting, although she would like to be with him, and if her husband is unable to trust, he may take her meaning as rejection or as a signal that her work is more important to her than he is. This misunderstanding results from his inability to accept what his wife has told him, from his inability to trust her. As the wife continually experiences her husband's misunderstandings, they generate within her feelings of surprise, sorrow, frustration, anger, resentment, and eventually the rejection that her husband mistakenly perceived. Thus, the husband, through the dynamic of distrust, creates his most significant fear. The loss of a mate or a friend or a colleague through distrust is not a punishment for distrustfulness. It is the result of refusing to look consciously within oneself at the issue of trust. It is an experience that results from choosing repeatedly to distrust instead of to trust. A distrustful person will create unpleasant or painful situations until at last they bring him or her to the issue of trust. This may take 5 painful experiences, or 5 lifetimes of painful experiences, or 50. But eventually, this path will lead to and through the great lesson of trust. The same dynamic applies to every personality characteristic that is not an expression of compassion and harmony. An angry personality, for example, will create unpleasant or even tragic situations until its anger is faced and removed as a block to its compassion and love, to the energy of its soul. The same is true for greedy personalities, selfish personalities, manipulating personalities, and so forth. This is the way that we have evolved until now. A multisensory human can learn more rapidly than a five sensory human. With the help that is available to it, the multisensory personality can understand more quickly the meaning of its experiences. hmm How they came into being, what they represent, and its role in creating them. It does not need to experience 12 or 20 or 200 painful experiences to learn a major lesson of trust or responsibility or humbleness. This does not necessarily mean that multisensory personalities do not experience painful situations, but that they have the capability of learning more quickly from them than five sensory personalities, and therefore are more quickly able to choose more wisely and with more compassion. I'm going to pause again. I'm going to come back to that choice that I referred to a couple of weeks ago that I had to make consciously. Um, I paid attention. See, if you pay attention, and that's when it comes to the multisensory human. So if you're new here, you're going to have to catch up because we're already in chapter 5. However, nonetheless, I can briefly tell you the difference. Five sensory human being is an individual who only operates according to their five senses. A multisensory human being is somebody who has elevated a bit more. Yes, they utilize their five senses, but they know that there is more to them than their physical selves. And they realize that we all are part of something much bigger. People call it God, people call it divinity, people even have names for God like Jehovah, Yahweh, Allah. And those are just to name a few of the names that that people do put on this energy. But when I think of it, I think of it just as energy, intelligence. It's not just energy that's just has no intelligence. It's more intelligent than we are because it is holding up the planet. Can you hold up the planet? Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think there's any human beings. I don't think they have created any machines that can hold up planets. Okay, so we are literally, hey, welcome in. I am reading and speaking from this book, Seed of the Soul. So, yes, and I'm explaining briefly what multisensory is versus five sensory. So, yes, I am a multisensory operating human being. I recognize, and even though I utilize, yes, my five senses, but that I'm part of something bigger, a bigger intelligence. Again, some people call it God, divinity, Allah, whatever you want to call the energy that's holding the planet that we are all on right now, that's holding it in orbit. That energy, we are a part of that energy, and that energy is more intelligent than we are. And when we recognize that that energy is more intelligent than we are, then we have the choice, instead of trying to figure out everything and learn and do things the hard way or harder ways, asking for help, asking for clarity, asking you shall receive. That's what that means. If you ask for the direction, for the clarity, you will get it. So I was given that opportunity, when I had the suitor, and I was like, I just paid attention. I had the opportunity to hang out and to observe, and then I took the opportunity this week to observe some more, and I said, okay, yeah, it's cool. We're cool, and there's nothing wrong with a guy. The pursuit. The pursuit wasn't. I'm not gonna be judgmental, but the pursuit was not for a lady of my caliber. Period. I appreciate them recognizing the goodness and the greatness and the value. But when you see something valuable, you just don't expect it to come easily to you. You realize that it takes more work. And one thing I could say in regards to my choice, But that individual has been putting in work. That individual has been putting in work. Like, I've only caught in glimpses of a bit of the work that they've been putting in, but they've been putting in work. It is not the work that I could even like be like, oh, he did this, oh, he did that. Oh, no, because he does things differently. But let me finish reading this book. All right. So, it is not necessary to be capable of voice-to-voice communication, so to speak, to be able to draw upon the sources of guidance and assistance that surrounds you. This way is available to the advanced multisensory human, but the road to that ability is a joyful one of developing an awareness that wise and compassionate guidance is always available to you, and learning to incorporate it consciously into your life. How does that happen? The five sensory personality accepts every impulse and insight as his or her own, as originating within his or her psyche. The multisensory personality knows that this is not always the case. Impulses, hunches, sudden insights, and subtle insights have assisted us on our evolutionary path since the origin of our species. That we have not recognized the guidance that has come to us in this way is a consequence of seeing reality through only five senses. From the five sensory point of view, there is no other place from where insights and hunches can come. From the multisensory point of view, insights, intuitions, hunches, and inspirations are messages from the soul or from an advanced intelligence that assists the soul on its evolutionary journey. The multisensory personality, therefore, honors intuition in a way that the five sensory personality does not. To the five sensory personality, intuitions are curiosities. To the multisensory personality, they are promptings from and links to a perspective of greater comprehension and compassion than its own. To the five sensory personality, intuitive insights or hunches occur unpredictably and cannot be counted upon. To the multisensory personality, intuitive insights are registrations within its consciousness of a loving guidance that is continually assisting and supporting its growth. Therefore, the multisensory personality strives to increase its awareness of this guidance. The first step to this is becoming aware of what you are feeling. Following your feelings will lead you to their source. Only through emotions can you encounter the force field of your own soul. That is the human passage in a word. The husband who was not able to trust, for example, may have felt anger or shame or resentment or coldness towards his wife when she told him of her business appointment. If he had been able to experience his feelings consciously, to detach from them, to observe them as energy currents running through his system, he would have been able to ask himself, why does this news of this business meeting affect me in this way? This would have allowed him to discover that his feelings were reflecting a sense of rejection or of being less important to his wife than his meeting. If he then had reviewed his wife's message, he would have seen that she had told him that she would have preferred to be with him, but could not. This would have allowed him to ask, then why do I still feel so disturbed? And this would have led him to answer, because I do not trust that she would actually prefer to be with me. In this way, becoming aware of his feelings rather than unconsciously acting them out would have led him to his issue of trust. Having unearthed so much, he then could have asked himself, does my experience with my wife support this suspicion that she is not being honest with me? If the answer to this question had been no, my experience is that she is a person of integrity, the husband could have come to see that the dynamic emotion within him did not relate to his wife. Although her words triggered it, it would have allowed him to see the actual intentions of his wife, and his feelings towards her would have softened. Her response to him would have been one of closeness towards a loving husband instead of hurt caused by the rejection of her intimacy by a hostile husband. Had he followed this course, he would not have had to ruin his afternoon or his marriage. He would have been able to learn from his emotions and his questions about them, the same lesson that he eventually would learn through the unpleasant experiences that resulted from his lack of trust. He would have been able to see within the framework of one instance the effect of distrust and the effects of trust. Each question that a person asks, such as, why does news of this business meeting affect me in this way? Why do I feel so disturbed? Does my experience support my suspicion? Invokes guidance. Every time you ask for guidance, you receive it. Ooh, I'll just be liking when I be saying stuff. And then it be coming up. It's from somebody else saying it. Didn't I just say that? Didn't I just say that when I took a break? And from reading and just let you know. Ask, you shall receive. Mm. Mm. Mm, mm, mm. Each question that a person asks, such as why news of this business meeting affect me this way? Why do I feel disturbed? And does my experience support my suspicion? Invokes guidance. Every time you ask for guidance, you receive it. Every time you ask yourself, what is my motivation? You ask the universe, help me to see, and help comes. You may not always be capable of hearing the answers to your questions when you ask them, and the answers may not always come in the ways you expect, but they always come. Sometimes an answer occurs in the form of a feeling, a yes feeling, or a no feeling. Sometimes in the form of a memory or a thought that at the time seems random, sometimes in a dream, sometimes in the form of a realization that is prompted by an experience that will occur the next day. No question is unheard, and no question goes unanswered. Ask and you shall receive is the rule. It's the rule, people. It's the rule. But you must learn how to ask, and you must learn how to receive. I'm gonna pause right there. We're gonna get back to the book in a second. Yes, people. Yes. So I'm gonna get back to my decision making that I did a couple of weeks ago. I had to ask myself, first of all, for clarity. You know what I'm saying? And then I had to ask myself, what is the best? And I got responses, like, hey, you got this, you got that. This is what this is going to be. This is what that's going to be. What do you want? And I said, okay, this is it's uncertain because it is a new experience, and it would have been interesting to go in a predictable, secure direction, but instead I chose a unpredictable, secure direction. Both directions are secure, because there's been multiple support that the decision I've made is the best decision for me, for the complexities of who I am, but I still go through different emotions, and I have to ask myself, when I go through the emotions that I go through, why? Where is it stemming from? And there's a lot of things that needed to come up, that needed to be discarded. I need to acknowledge them and let it go in order to make room, because this is big, this is not like, this is humongous. It's like the first time outside of me, it's really not outside of me, but You know, technically, yes, because the twin flame technically is um, another body, Yes, it may be the same soul, but it is two different bodies, And that's why it's a twin flame, because the flame is descriptive of the soul, So those unions are not um those unions are revolutionary. Those unions are not just like, oh, we're gonna spend a lifetime together and learn some lessons and grow, and then we're gonna depart, and who knows what will happen once we depart from these bodies. Those unions are not that. Those unions are typically souls that have contracted to do some important shit on the motherfucking planet, and that's going to require, you know, seeing things clearly, and I feel like a twin flame incarnation is giving the opportunity to see things really, really clear in this density of humanity and being incarnated, because there are so many different complexities when it comes to this experience, and you need to be able to um, feel these things, to understand these things. So when you encounter other people that's having those experiences, you can relate, you can identify what's going on, and you can navigate the situation successfully and efficiently, versus somebody who's just reacting and responding. No. If you feel a way, other people are prone to feel ways too. And how do you mitigate that? How do you handle that? You know what I'm saying? You have to be able to handle that, especially depending on what you're here on the planet to do, you know? So I get it. And I'm just gonna continue growing and dealing and experiencing and clearing out the space, and allowing things to unfold and trusting the guidance that's always available. And whenever there is any type of confusion or I need any clarity, I'm going to ask and I'm going to receive that clarity and receive exactly what I need to do and say thank you. You know, say thank you. Just say thank you. I'm going to continue going. All right. The intellect is meant to expand perceptions, to help you grow in perceptual strength and complexity, and not do any harm. The experiences of the intellect are experiences of knowledge. Knowledge is power, and for every level of knowledge, you are held responsible of how you use it. Mhm. Knowledge that simply comes into your being and does not in some way or form become processed and used to the benefit of others can have a seriously detrimental effect upon your body. Karmic obligations that are created by deliberate misuse of knowledge, by knowingly harming or creating discord in another, are greater than those that are created in ignorance. Damn, fly. In a world that understands power as external, the intellect often functions without the compassionate influence of the heart. This creates situations in which intellectual power is used as a weapon to harm others, to exert willpower without tenderness. When the intellect is used to design or develop or produce weapons, for example, it's not being used as it was intended. When an industry or plant is designed or built or operated without consideration for its effects upon the earth, upon human life, and upon the environment, the intellect is not being used as it was intended. When you plan to profit at another's expense, you are not using your intellect as it was intended. In a world of five sensory humans that understand power as external, intuitive knowledge is not regarded as knowledge, and therefore it is not processed. It is not submitted to the intellect. It is not expanded or studied or more technical, and disciplined. Just as when we were taught to develop and employ cognition, to think things through. So, two, can we learn to develop and employ intuition, to ask for guidance and receive it, just as there are technologies to discipline the mind, such as analytical thinking, studying, repetition, and respect for the mechanism, so too are there techniques to engage and discipline the intuition. The first of these is to honor emotional cleansing at all times. It's the alignment for me. I don't pre-read this book before I get on these lives every Sunday, people. So for whoever watches the replay, which is probably going to be me, but whoever else watches this replay, they're gonna be like, they're gonna see why I just had the reaction that I just had, because I literally spoke on that before opening the book this week. This is what I do for my Soulful Sundays, okay? My first step was to show up every freaking Sunday at 3 p.m. Period. That's my first. My second was choose a topic to be consistent with. That's my second. So when I'm here with you guys, this book stays at this desk right here. Once I'm finished, I put my bookmark in there, I close it, I put it down, and I get up. And I don't see it again until next Sunday. But I still live my multi-sensory life. And so I expressed how I was cleansing emotionally and how I knew why I was cleansing emotionally. You know, because I'm making space to carry and to support emotionally. And that requires clearance. And then for me to come, and I won't say randomly because it's not random. This is confirmation. This is confirmation that yes, honor emotional cleansing at all times. I'm going to continue reading. If you are emotionally blocked, that's what it says, and you cannot or you do not know what you feel, or if you have blocked what you feel so effectively that you become emotionless, you have become a negative person. And you also create a physically diseased body. Ooh. By keeping your emotions clear. Emotional negativity does not reside in you. Doesn't mean that you don't experience negative emotions. It means they don't live in your body. And you become lighter and lighter. This opens your intuitive track because it allows you a clear sense of loving. It brings you closer to unconditional love, and it renders you harmless. It lightens the quality of your frequency, so to speak, and therefore the guidance that you receive is clear and unobstructed as it enters your system. This requires that you clear yourself each day. Ooh. I don't know if I've been doing it each day now. Of your emotional impacts. Just as you dispose of your physical body waste and toxins. Ooh. So too dispose of your emotional waste and toxins by finishing emotionally unfinished business. Ooh. By not going to bed in anger. Okay, I don't do that. By seeing that you do not feel contaminated emotionally. Okay. And by learning to work with and to honor your emotional currents of energy. Oh, I've been doing it. I just didn't know I was doing it. I don't go to bed angry. But contaminated emotionally? I don't know. That deserves further exploration. Let's continue reading though. The second is a cleansing nutritional program. Being physically toxic interferes with intuition. The third is to honor the guidance that you receive. On that note, I'm going to take a pause and drink some of my chlorophyll water. I got it over here because I didn't want to make fluids on my computer. Oh, yeah. Let's mix it up, too. Ooh. Goodness for this body, okay? Goodness for this body. Chlorophyll is very good for the body. You're going to have to do your own research, okay? But it's good for your body. Whew. Okay. Here we go. Excuse me. I know what's going on TikTok. TikTok is asking me to do something. All right. Where were we? Let's start back at 3. The third is to honor the guidance that you receive. Emotional and physical cleansing leads to intuition. This leads to learning to respond. I'm going to do something big tomorrow. It's small, but it's big. It's small, but it's big. All right, let me stop. I'm going to just keep on reading. I want to talk about it. I want to talk about it afterwards. So I'm not going to say what it is until like afterwards. And that's all I'm going to say. Let's get back to the book. I'm going to start back at 3. The third is to honor the guidance that you receive. Emotional and physical cleansing leads to intuition, and this leads to learning to respond. You must be willing to hear what your intuition says and act accordingly. Many people do not wish to hear what can be heard so easily, and therefore they deny that they've heard anything at all. The fourth is to allow yourself an orientation of openness towards your life and the universe, to approach the questions in your life with a sense of faith and trust that there is a reason for all that is happening, and that reason at its heart is always compassionate and good. This is an essential thought that needs to be in place in order to activate and cultivate intuition. What is intuition and how does it work? Intuition is perception beyond the 5 physical senses that is meant to assist you. It is that sensory system which operates without data from the 5 senses. Your intuitional system is a part of your incarnation. When you leave your body, you will leave behind the intuitional system that was developed for you, as you will leave behind your personality, because it will no longer be necessary. Intuition serves many purposes. Intuition serves survival. It prompts you to pursue that which has no apparent reason in order to survive. Hunches about danger, for example, about what is risky and what is not, about which street is safe to walk and what is not, about checking the car under the hood, help you to remain in the physical world. Intuition serves creativity. It tells you what book to buy for your project. It tells you where to meet the colleague that you need to meet, and which ideas from one field will complement which ideas from another. It is the hunch that a certain painting should be done in gray and that another should be done in purple. It is the sense that an idea that has never been tried before might work. I'm gonna just take a pause again. I had an intuitive thought yesterday to go and post an event that was happening yesterday. Now, logically, my mind would have said, why are you gonna post this now? And it's the day of the event. You know what I'm saying? That's what my logic would have said. But my intuition said, you need to post it because the event is going on until 6 p.m. It's only 1. It gives people time to get there. So I said, you know what? Let me follow my intuition. Follow my intuition. And guess what I was greeted with in following my intuition? I was greeted with information for me to go and have a heck of a good time next Sunday. So next Sunday, after this show, I will be going out, get my sang on. Eating me some good fish sandwiches and some fries, and just networking and, you know, getting acclimated still into my community with the folks that I need to be acclimated with, you know. Yeah, not everybody. Not everybody. But fellow artists and, you know, community leaders and community advocates, you know, those people, yes. Welcome in, Queen Mother. Those people, yes, I need to, you know, be networking with. So anyway, let's get back to the book. And for those who just came in, I am still in chapter 5, Intuition, and the book is called The Seat of the Soul by Gary Zukav. And every Soulful Sunday, we dive into it. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, if I would have never... I'm going to get back to the book. But if I would not have followed that intuition, I would have not even known to prepare. I have a week to prepare for. I wouldn't have even known. I would have just, like, not known. I'm going to miss this opportunity. So, yes, I do follow. And my intuition is pretty strong. It'd be like, do this right now. Do that right now. Sometimes it doesn't think. You got time to think. My intuition be like, you got time to think. Because I do think a lot. If I just went on my thoughts, I wouldn't do not a god darn of a motherfucker like that. I'm saying, because my thoughts be like, 50 miles a second. That's how fast. My brain be like, my brain moves faster than these daggone phones and computers sometimes, people. Yeah, you wonder why they be upgrading shit, because they want the shit to move faster than people, because some people mentalities and minds are speeding up. Now my body has yet to catch up, you know what I'm saying? Because I gotta hydrate it, you know, I gotta have water in this motherfucker. And supplements, not just water. You know, it also needs to have the proper supplements as well, minerals and vitamins and things of that sort. So that's what the sister girl's doing, that and this and that, this and that, and this and that, and this and that, and this and that. Okay, let me get back to this. Intuition serves inspiration. It is the sudden answer to a question. It is the meaning that takes form in the fog of confusion. It is the light that comes to the darkness. It is the presence of the divine. Intuition can be thought of as a type of wiring that can be used by various sources. One of these sources is the soul. Intuition is a walkie-talkie, so to speak, between the personality and the soul. This happens through the higher self. The higher self is the connecting link when the soul speaks to its personality. It is the dialogue between the personality and its immortal self. The personality's soul communication is the higher self experience, but the personality does not communicate with the fullness of its soul. All of the energy of the soul does not incarnate. To incarnate, the soul creates a personality from these parts of itself that it wants to heal in the physical environment, and from those parts of itself that it lends to the process of healing in that lifetime. So powerful is the energy of the soul that it could not advance into the physical form without literally exploding that form. In the creation of a personality, the soul calibrates parts of itself, reduces parts of itself to take on the human experience. Your higher self is that aspect of your soul that is in you, but it is not the fullness of your soul. It is a smaller soul self. Therefore, higher self is another term for soul, yet the soul is more than the higher self. Picture a cup, a gallon, and a water tank. The water tank is the soul. An aspect of the soul becomes a gallon. That gallon is still soul, but it's not the fullness of the soul. It is the part of the soul that is on mission, so to speak. The personality is the cup. The cup contacts the gallon, the higher soul, self soul, but not the full bodied water tank. Communication between the personality and its soul is an in house intuitive process. It is a process that is organic to your own internal system. For example, decision making, which is your process, can be an intuitive process in which you pull data from your mind, your heart, and your intuition, relying upon the guidance of your higher self. Each of these sources is part of your own system of energy. Your personality and your higher self are of your soul. Intuition can also permit the personality through its higher self to receive information from other souls of higher process, souls that are not its own soul. Sources of guidance other than your own higher self can come across on the same radio station, so to speak. This is not the same as an intuitive process. This is a process of receiving guidance through intuitive channels. Receiving information through intuitive channels is significantly different from receiving information through intuitive processes. Receiving information through intuitive processes is cooking at home. Receiving information through intuitive channels is ordering out. The guidance that the multisensory human receives through intuitive processes and through intuitive channels is as essential for his or her well-being and growth as sunshine and clean air. Through his or her intuition, the multisensory human comes to understand and to experience truth consciously. What is truth? Truth is that which does not contaminate you, but empowers you. Therefore, there are degrees of truth, but generically, truth is that which can do no harm. It cannot harm. Higher self connecting to non-physical teachers produces a level of truth that is not true just for you, but that would be true for anyone who came in contact with it. If you subtracted everything that is personal to you from the guidance that you receive through intuitive channels, there would remain a kernel of truth that would apply to others, or at least the presence of unconditional love, whereas much of the information that you receive through your own intuitive process will be effective only for you. This is the difference between personal truth and impersonal truth. They are both truth, but personal truth is yours, and impersonal truth belongs to all that is to each person. We need truth to grow in the same way that we need vitamins, affection, and love. At times, the truth that comes through intuitive processes or through intuitive channels can be contaminated with your own fear. Here's a place to apply your intellect. In other words, you might think that you are receiving a clear intuition, but if you examine it rationally, if you take it apart, you'll be able to see that you are responding to an insecurity. Just as the question, does my experience with my wife support my suspicion, would have allowed the husband to see that the origin of his emotional response was an insecurity rather than an energy dynamic with his wife. Answers that come through your intuitive process or through intuitive channels may challenge what you would prefer to do. Your lower self, your personality, will not challenge, but rationalize. It is natural to ascend to a level where you can learn to distinguish between the sources of guidance that you receive. The idea of being guided by truth that is received intuitively appears unusual to the five sensory personality. The psychology that has been constructed upon the experiences of the five sensory personality does not even recognize intuition in the senses that it recognizes and studies and seeks to understand. Physical perception, affect, and cognition. To the multisensory personality, it is unusual not to rely upon truths that it receives from its higher self, and through its higher self from souls that are more advanced. The personality is never separate from its soul, and the soul and its personalities are continually assisted and guided with impersonal compassion and wisdom. This is so for both the five sensory personality and for the multisensory personality. But the five sensory personality is not aware of its soul or the guidance that it receives from its higher self and from more advanced souls. The multisensory personality is aware of its soul. It seeks to align itself with its soul, to become the physical embodiment of its higher self, and it consciously invokes and receives the loving assistance of its own soul and of other souls that assist it. That, my good people, is the end of chapter 5, and we will continue with chapter 6 next week. Now, I don't know how next week is. All I know is I don't know if next week's show is going to partake here. But I know that I'll be here next week, 3 o'clock. That is my commitment to this channel. That is my commitment to the people who come and get fed somehow, some way by the diving ins that I go through. I know that I am, like, I'm not just here sharing to feed you guys and to stimulate you mentally and emotionally, and to encourage and remind you of the bigger part of yourself, but I'm also indulging with this acknowledgement of recognizing that I am more than this physical aspect of me, that I am also a part, this personality is also a part of my soul, and my soul is so vast, and so, your soul is so vast too. So I hope you took something valuable, and I hope you carry this valuableness throughout your whole entire week, and you utilize it, and you are conscious of the fact that we all are more than what we see when we look at each other with our physical eyes, and that you are intentionally being compassionate and acting from a space of compassion. And when you are going through different emotions, instead of you just responding, or even some people with emotional intelligence will say, well, I'm not going to do this because I know. Ask yourself where that emotion stems from. Ask yourself that question. Go deep and see where it's coming from. Follow it to the source. And if you have to release it and make room for something better. And it's okay to breathe. It's okay to take moments for yourself. I encourage you to take moments for yourself, to rest, to unplug, to like literally just put your devices away somewhere and go out in nature, or just go and meditate yourself, and really just tune in and tap into yourself. Stay tuned in and plugged into your higher self, and allow the other senses of you to develop, to strengthen, and allow that to guide you in everything that you do. That's allowing that Christ inside of you, that core part of you. Christ means light, enlightenment. So I'm excited that we're gonna be going into that next week. But as you can see, the book is down. I have a little bit of coffee left. I'm gonna finish that, and I'm gonna carry on with my Sunday. I'm gonna allow my intuition to lead me in what I do. That's been how I have been actually living my life. When I say, divinity is guiding me, that's what I'm saying. That is just another way of saying that. But I love coming and sharing, and we got some work to do. We're not even halfway through that book, but I just know, like, I could see things that have shifted in me committing to this right here, and I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing right now, so I'm gonna do that. Um, Trust the process, trust the process, trust the continued process and the evolution, and just like know that once we get to the end of this book, people, this background is gonna look, similar, but the foreground is gonna look a lot different. And I dare not show you what the rest of this room studio space looks like, but it needs to work. Okay, it needs to work, but gradually, and my big wish. It was so strong. My big wish was so strong because like I had help to do this. It was weird. It was so weird. Like when I first like set up the desk and everything, it was just like I was very like I'm not coming into here to do nothing. Like I want help. I want help. I'm not doing it by myself. No, I want help. And I just refused to do anything. But I realized I have help, and I need to still do things, um, bit by bit, and keep this office studio exercise space dedicated particularly for that, even studying, I finished basically my summer 2 semester in college, but now I have the fall, and the fall is like right there, right there. It ain't like far away. It's right there, and I should have a study space. It shouldn't be like, oh, I'm gonna study anywhere. Study on the couch. Study in the kitchen. Study in my bedroom. Study anywhere. No, I should have a dedicated space for study. And if I'm going to dedicate this space for study and business, because study is business, study is an investment of my time, and to expand my knowledge so that I can apply it to businesses and to be of service to others through my businesses. So yeah, it's a time investment, and I definitely want my ROI to be astronomical. Okay, okay. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I don't know. This thing just caught my eye right now. I didn't realize that part was darker. You can't even see it on my see it there. See how this part right here has caught my eye? Because this side looks very light. But this side looks very dark, like it's deeper. But I'm pretty sure it's the same depth. Anyway, thank you for tuning into the SupaTea Podcast Show. You can catch the replay on YouTube. Have a wonderful week, people. See you next Sunday. And if I'm extra getting next Sunday, don't be surprised.